Welcome to this course on modeling and texturing an office interior in Maya. In this course, we will learn how to model polygonal geometry and texture them. We will create a table, chairs, and some props for the interior. Even though the main focus of this course is polygonal modeling and texturing, at the end of the course we will also create simple lighting and render it from two different camera views. With that, I would like to welcome you to this course on modeling and texturing an office interior in Maya. Work files are Maya files that has the same content as the video tutorials. You can use these work files either to compare it with your own works, or you can use them as a reference for your projects. You have full freedom to use these Maya files for your personal practice, but you can't use them commercially. For example, if you don't like modeling and just want to create texturing for an existing model, you can directly open the Chapter 3 folder and you can access the file that is already modeled. Now, before you open a Maya file, make sure that you have set Maya project. This is very important, especially when you're working with texturing. Because if I go back 2 steps, that is to my work files folder, you will find 3 folders here. The first one is images. This basically has the rendered images, and the scenes, which has the Maya files, and then we have source images. So source images folder basically has all the textures that you need for your project, and Maya basically knows that source images folder has the textures because that is how Maya project works. So unless you set Maya project properly to this folder, it may not know where to take the texture files from. Now I'll show you how to set Maya project. Before you open any Maya file, go to File and choose Set Project. Navigate to the folder that you have the work files, open it up and hit Set. Now when I hit Open, it automatically goes inside my Scenes folder and you will find the chapter names there. So for example, if I open Chapter 3 and go inside Texturing Start and hit Open, now the scene looks empty. That is because all those models are being put inside display layers and being hidden. So let me go to my channel box and layer editor, and there you'll find all these different options. So you can just enable all the visibility so that you will have the full model without texture. If I go back to Open and choose texturing the rest of the models, this will basically have everything textured. Great. If you want to know more about Maya projects and other small little information about Maya, you can also watch the Introduction to Maya 2016 course. Now before we start to model, it's important to set the units because we will be creating different types of models and they all need to fit into the same scale. Otherwise, our table might be too small for the chair or for the rest of the models. So we can go to Window and choose Settings and Preferences and go to Preferences. And there we can navigate to Settings. There we will find Working Units. So inside Working Units, you will find Linear, and there is our unit. So by default, Maya has centimeters as its unit. So you can assume that one grid space here is 1 centimeter. So I'm going to change that to foot. So you can see that our grid has become huge now. So I'll hit Save and zoom out a bit by using Alt and right mouse button. Great. So now we can assume that one grid space is 1 feet. So let's begin creating our model. I'm going to start with a cylinder because I want to make a circular table. So I'll go to Polygon Primitives and Cylinder. So we got a cylinder. I'm going to make the radius to be bigger. So let me make it approximately 5 feet. So I'll give 5 here as the radius. Okay, and the height of the table I want it to be something like 3 feet. So we'll make it 3. Okay, that looks nice. I want to lift it up. I can use my front view or the side view by pressing spacebar. I get the other views. Here it is too small. Let me just make it bigger. Now when we do this, we will also notice that sometimes we might have this small problem. Now some part of the object is looking black. That's because the front view camera, the side view camera, they're actually too close to the object, so they're not actually able to see the entire thing. So what I can do is I can just click on this button to select this camera. As you can see that the camera is here, so that is why it's actually cutting off part of it. I can just pull this out. Now this happens only if you have changed this units to a dramatically different value. Once you make those changes, then you don't have to worry about it after that. I'll also do the same thing here. Select this camera and you can see that's there. I'll pull it back. Okay. The side view camera and the front view camera is fixed. Now we might have to do the same thing for the top view. We don't see any difference right now because the camera is above the object. Anyway, when we lift it up, we will end up with trouble. So I'll just pull this up all the way. Great. So now I can just look at my side view. I'll make the side view bigger. I can lift this up. Okay. Done. So now you can see that this is 3 grid space, that is 3 feet. Okay. Fine. Now I'm going to make some modifications here. I don't want this inside divisions, so I can go to polycylinder and I can just reduce this division caps to 0. I can even enter a manual value of 0 if I want. And I don't want to have any height divisions also, because we will do some divisions by ourselves. Okay, so I think that looks good. Now I'll make some modifications here. I want to create some model. I want to tweak this table slightly. So I'll select this top area. I'll press Shift key, right click and choose extrude face. This will give us the extrude tool. I'm going to pull it up slightly. Just very slight. Okay. And I want to extrude once again. So I've just taken it inside. Now I will do another extrude, and this time I can push this inside. Because this is a big round table, I want to have some space inside just to keep some things if they intend to. I'm doing one more extrude. I'm scaling it. I'll do one more extrude and pull it down. This can actually go down till the ground, or I can leave it somewhere in the middle. Let's check where it is. I can press 4 to see the wireframe. Okay, so I'll leave it there, no problem. I'm just going to add one more edge loop here, then I'll do an extrude to pull these things closer. I'll go ahead and select, right click and select. Now shift, right click and choose insert edge loop tool. I'm going to add an edge loop somewhere here. Okay. And now I'm going to select all these inside faces. I'll select this first one and I'll shift double click on the next one so that you can see that it selects all these faces. Now I can hold shift key, right click and choose extrude. Now with this extrude I'm going to make it small first, so I'll scale it only in y-axis. And now I want to push this inside, you see? That's nice. Great. So this looks like it gives some space here for the people who are sitting here to keep their feet. And we can also do some more extrudes. Shift right click, extrude face. I'll make it smaller. Great. I'll do one more extrude. Pull it closer. And this time I can actually push this out. Now keep in mind the axis that you pick here is very important. If you pick on this x-axis, if you want, it goes weird. and if you pick y-axis also it goes up and down, and if you pick the z-axis, that's what we want. So make sure that which axis you're picking, which would decide how the model is going to be. Okay, so I think that looks good. If you want, you can also make this bottom area to be a bit more smaller. I'm going to choose the scale tool. I'll either press R or I can click here, take the scale tool. I'm going to scale all of them. So this is basically a personal preference. Whichever way you like, you can keep it. If you want to make it smaller, you can make it smaller. If you want to keep it in the larger size itself, you can keep it in the larger size. If you want to make it even smaller like that, you can. So it's basically your personal preference. Whichever way you like, you can keep it. I want to keep it somewhere like that, not exactly till the end, but just a little bit. Okay, now if you want to make more divisions, you can. So I can also select this, extrude once again, make it smaller, and do another extrude. This time I can push it closer. I'll push this thing here. So the more you extrude, the more divisions it will get, the much better it would look. I can also turn on my wireframe on top of the shaded mode, which actually shows us more detail of the object. In this video, we will create the revolving chair. We created this table in the previous video, and we're going to create all the other elements in the same file so that we can combine them to make a complete office interior scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this table in a safe place. So I'll select that and go down here to display layers, and I can click on this last button that says create new layer and assign the selected object. So what it does is it creates a new layer and it puts this object inside that layer. I'll double click on it to give a name. I'll call this round table. Notice that if I give a space here between these words, it will say an error. It says that it's an invalid name. So it's better not to give space. So what I usually do is I give the first letter of every word to be a capital letter. So here you can see that R is capital and T is capital. Now I'll hit save. So you can see that the new name is being applied here. And if I click on this V button, I can toggle between visibility and invisibility. So I'm not going to use this table right now, so I can just hide it and keep it there. So whenever we want, we can simply click on this button to get that table back. Great. So let's hide that and let's start creating our chair. I'll start with the cube. I'll go to create, polygon primitives, cube. I'm going to make it wider. So I'll give the width to be 2. So that would be like 2 feet. And I will also give the depth to be 2. And I'll make the height a bit less. So something like 0.4. So I just want to add some divisions here. Let me look at the front and side view. We'll find out which one is the front and which was the side. So this is the side and this is the front. So I want to add some divisions on the side so I can modify the shape. I'll go ahead and try to add some divisions here. No, that is the front. I want the divisions here. Okay, so maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5. Okay, good. So now I can modify this shape. I'll right click and choose vertex. I'm going to zoom it to the maximum size. I'll select these vertices. You can see that it actually selects both of them. If I click and drag, I'm going to change to my move tool. I used W key. You can also click here to get the move tool. And I will click and drag. Okay, so I'm going to tweak it more like so. Furthermore here. And the last one I can pull this one down. Okay. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Nice. I'm going to add an edge loop here. I'll select, shift right click and choose insert edge loop tool, and I can click anywhere in this edge, so that will add an edge loop. So I can see that we have an edge throughout. I can just click here to go back to object mode, and with object mode I can go back again to my vertex. I'm going to select these two vertices. I can also click and drag here, select those two vertices. I'm going to click and drag so that it makes a bit more round shape. Keep this somewhere here, keep this somewhere here. And here in the bottom also I can just pull this like that. Okay, so that basically gets that side shape done. I can go ahead and select and press 3 to make it smooth. I can see that it becomes too smooth to the sides. So we'll add more divisions here. I'll choose my insert edge loop tool. So instead of just choosing the tool directly, I'm going to the options this time. So it basically opens up our tool settings. And in tool settings, I want to choose multiple edge loops. So instead of just creating one single edge loop, we can create multiple edge loops. And I'm going to give a value of 5. So we'll have 5 edge loops. So I'll go ahead and click on this. So it creates 5 edge loops with equal distances, which is nice. Now I want to get back to my move tool, right click, select. Okay, so that's nice. Now that we have added that many divisions, we can make some minor tweaks to make it look nice. I can go to edge, select these alternative edges, and select these ones. I think that's enough. I can just pull these down so that you can see that it creates a nice smoothness here. If I smooth it out, you can see that it looks much nicer. Now I can create the other part of the leather seat. I'll use another cube for that. Create polygon primitives, cube. We can make the width to be 2 so that it matches up with this existing object. And I can make the height to be something like 2.5 because it needs to be tall. Nice. And I can change the depth to be 0.4, maybe 0.35. Okay, I'm pulling it back. I'll lift it up. I'll have to rotate it slightly. I'm choosing the rotation tool. Okay, now let's add some divisions to make it look more like an executive chair. So what I'll do is I'll hold shift key, right click. I'll shift right click and choose insert edge loop tool. I'll go to the options. Last time we used the edge loops to be 5, so let's bring this back to reset. So I'm going to add a couple of edge loops here. So one here, and I can just push this to the left side a bit, and I'll add one more here and push it slightly to the right side. So now you can see that, yeah, that's the shape that I wanted. Great. So we can add more divisions here to refine the shape. So I'll add one here. You can actually work on the side view, which is much easier. Okay, so that'll try to get that curved shape there. And we have to balance that out here. So I'll push this slightly to the inside. Now we can select these vertices and modify them based on the requirement. So you can just pick these ones. Okay, so make sure that the width remains the same. I will add one more here. Great. Select vertex, pull this up, Select this vertex, move it to the left, pull it up. Great. Now what I'm going to do is I'll add some 5 divisions here vertically the same way as I did here. Select the object, shift right click and choose Insert Edge Loop tool. This time we'll go back to options and increase this divisions to be 5. And I'll go ahead and click here. So you can see that adds 5 divisions. That looks nice. Now here we'll make some tweaks. I'll push these inside ones a bit inside, further inside. So I'll select these 2 and push them down, maybe quite a bit. I'll press smooth and see how that looks. Okay, that's nice. I'll have to add a division here, down here, so that it'll be more flat down there where it needs to be connected to the other seat. Okay, so I'll push these guys a bit closer down, or I can actually move these ones 1, 2, 3 a bit inside. Yes, so there's a nice difference. Yes. So now here I just want to add a bit more fancy stuff. I want to add a cylindrical shape on top of this. So I'll go ahead and delete this area just to give some space. So select this first one, double click on the last one and delete. Okay, go to Create, Polygon Primitives and choose Cylinder. Let's bring it up. I do not want any subdivision cap, and I will make the divisions to be 8. I'll make the radius to be something like 0.2, maybe 0.3. I think 0.2 will do. Okay, and we want to rotate it like so, 90 degrees exactly. And we can actually add these divisions here. So height divisions I can keep 5, so that will match up exactly with that. Actually 6. Yes. So now I'll bring this here, pull it up. I think it should be a bit more bigger. It's too small. So I'll increase the radius to be like 0.3. Okay, so I'll rotate it slightly this way or that way. And I can actually look at the side view, which will give us better understanding of what's happening. Okay, I think that looks good. I'll keep it here and push this vertices down here. So now I have to delete these inside shape so that we can attach these 2 objects together. So there it is. So I'm actually going inside the object in order to select that. So I'll select the first one, double click on the last one, and I can delete that, so that you can see that now we have created that hole to connect these 2 objects. Great. Now what I have to do is I have to attach these 2 objects. So I will select both of them. Select the first one, shift select the second one. If you're not able to select the object, you can just make sure that you go back to the object mode and shift select these 2. And now I can shift right click and choose combine. Now you can also do the same thing just by going to the menu. Up here you should be able to find mesh combine, so that they both do the same thing. So either you can choose from mesh combine, or you can shift right click and choose combine. So now these are one object. Still there's a gap which you need to fill up. We have to attach these vertices. So again, we can do that in several ways. If your vertices are too close, we can simply try this merge vertex. So I'll select all these vertices. Okay, and I'll hold Shift key, right click, and choose Merge Vertices. And inside you can go to Merge Vertices. Actually, you can go to Options. Okay, so it has a threshold of 0.01. I don't think this will work. Let's give it a try. Hit Apply. Say it doesn't work because that threshold is too low. I'll make it 0.1. Let's try. Yes, it matched up. Now if you see this is basically the distance for which it will check if any vertices are between these distance, they will merge them. If they are too far away, then it will not merge. Okay, so let's try the same thing here. This time we might find some problem, so let's give it a try. So I'll give 1 and see what it does. I'll hit Apply. You can see that all these vertices are combined together into one single vertex, which is totally bad. Okay, so you can just try the experiment with these values and find out which one is suitable. Now I'm going to show you a different method to do the same job. Now apart from that, we also have a merge vertex tool. If I choose vertex, shift right click and choose merge vertices, inside that we also have another one called the target weld tool. Okay, in previous versions of Maya it was called merge vertex tool, so now it is target weld tool. So we can just select that tool, make sure that you pick on the first one, click and drag to the next one so that you can see that that vertex gets merged with this one. So I can just click on this one again, click and drag, click and drag. So this is another method when you want to pull one vertex from one place to the other place, because the other method, what it will do is instead of pulling it from one place to the other place, it will simply merge both of them to the center of both those vertices. So depending on what kind of result you want, you can try different tools. So I'll just pull that towards here. Okay, so that's nice. So we're done there. Let's go ahead and check how that looks. I'll smooth it out, select and press 3. Okay, that's nice. I just want to add a couple of edges at the end so that it looks a bit more sharp. I'll go ahead and choose shift right click and choose insert edge loop tool. Let's make sure that it's in relative distance from edge, so wherever we click we get the edge. So click on that. There you go. 1, 2. I'll add these 2 edges for this guy also. So I'll add one here and add one here. Great. So let's smooth that out and see how that looks. Press 3. Okay, nice. Press 3. So you can see that we have a nice hard edge here. Great. I'm just going to make a small difference here. So I'll select these vertices. I can just pick on these vertices. Shift select these vertices. Let me try how that's going to look if I scale them down. Okay. I will also scale them to the side to pull them to their place. Nice. I will just pull these guys a bit more away. Maybe these ones a bit close. Yes. So let's see how that looks. Nice. So this is just personal preference. Now whichever way you like, you can keep it. If you want to tweak only these 3 edges that are coming outside, you can also do that. So this one, and this one. I tried to do it with the center ones. It's up to you. Oh dear, I accidentally selected this vertex by mistake. I can just push it back to its original place. Great. If you want to show some definition here, you can also do a small extrude here, so that will make that area to be more round, something like that. If you want to show more detail here, you can still do that. So let's say I can push this inside, do another extrude, push this closer, do another extrude, pull it out. You can see that the same effect is applying here also. Okay, so this time I can make them bigger like so. So these are just personal preferences. Now, depending on what kind of result you like to have, you can do lots of stuff. So now keep in mind, the more faces, the more edges you have, the more you have to work in the texturing part. So uh, I recommend to keep it simple as possible now. So you can see that we can create something like that. But basically, you can use your creativity and make whatever kind of design you like. Now we'll create the handle for the chair. I'm going to start with the cube, polygon primitives, cube. We'll make the size to be small, very small. Pull it up. We can actually do this from the side view. So I'll go to the side view, go up here. This can be a bit more bigger. Okay, nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak this and I'll extrude it from two sides. So I'll go ahead and choose vertex, click on this vertex, select these vertices, pull them like so, pull this like so, pull this like so. Okay, so now I'm going to do some extrude here. Let me pull this outside so that it will not get disturbed. Great. Now I'll extrude from this face. I'm looking at my side view. Extrude, pull it down. I'm going to tweak this further. Let me look at the perspective. Select this face, do one more extrude, pull it down, go to the side view. I'll try to keep this away. Okay. Now go back to vertex, pick this vertices, pull it like so, pull this down. Now further extrude. So it's just a simple process of extruding and moving and extruding and moving and stuff. So I can just take this here, go back to vertex, pick on this vertex, again select this guy, extrude, pull it down, go ahead and select this, pull this up, pull this to the side, choose face, extrude, polygon modeling is all about extruding. So if you know how to extrude, then you know polygon modeling. Okay, so take a primitive and then keep on extruding. You will get the entire you will get the model that you want. Okay, and finally here we have to do an extrude from this one and attach it here. So I'll hit extrude, pull it down. Now I have to delete this face and I have to delete this face. Now all we have to do is finally just attach them. So this time I'll use my target weld tool. So click on that. Now I can just click on this, drag, click on this, drag, click on this, drag, and click on this, drag. Great. So let's smooth it out and see how that looks. It might go too much. Let's try. Okay, that's nice. If you want to make more thickness, you can, or if you think that you want to make it more boxy, squarey, we can also do that just by adding more edge loops. So that's just the basic shape. We can add more edge loops here and there. So let's go ahead and choose insert edge loop tool. I'll click here. I can just pull this up slightly just to add more detail. And if you want for the bottom ones, you can keep them a bit more thinner. So I'll select all these vertices and pull them a bit closer so you can see that the bottom area becomes more thin and the top area becomes more thick. Press 3. Nice. I can add more divisions, so let's go ahead and choose select, shift right click, insert edge loop tool. I'll click on this one here, and I'll add one here also. Okay, so let's smooth it out and see how that looks. That's nice. Okay, now if you want, you can also make some small tweaks here. Select this guy, select these ones, and scale them a little bit. I'll do the same thing here in the bottom. This is just to round the shape instead of, because we have added an edge loop here. It's not compulsory for this particular shape, but it's up to you. If you want to do it, you can. So I'll add one here, add one here. I'll actually pick these vertices, put them inside. Great, so once we're done with that, we can go ahead and push this and keep it closer to the chair. We can make any last minute changes here to match the shape of the chair. Press 3. Great. If you want to make it a bit more taller also, we can. So that's basically depending from the chair. Now one last step for this handle, we have to make a duplicate to the other side. I'll go ahead and first move my pivot point to the center. So for doing that, I can either press and hold D key, or I can press insert key. So by pressing and holding the alphabet D, you can get this insert mode. So you can go ahead and move this. You can turn on the grid snap so that we can actually snap it to the grid. Great. So now what I have to do is make a duplicate. I can press Control D, or I can go to Edit, Duplicate. Okay, so duplicate. Now we have to push this duplicate to the other side. Not only we want to push it to the other side, we also want this to look the other way, because we have a slanting here. Choose the axis that we want to push, that is x-axis here, and we will just go ahead and choose x-axis scale value to be minus. So you can see that it actually moved to the other side. And you can see that this side here it is slanting, and here it is slanting to the other direction. I'll go ahead and smooth them. Now that we've created the upper portion of the chair, I'm going to select all of them and group them together into one object. I'll make sure that I'm in object mode. I can unsmooth them, and I'm going to press Control G. So now we have a group 1. So I'll name this as upper chair. Now that I have a group, I can just pull this up to give some space for the bottom areas to be created. Let me check and give approximately 1 feet height. Okay. Maybe 1.5 feet will be fine. So this is going to be a height adjustable chair, so it's not a big deal. Okay. So now I have to start with the central area, which is going to be in cylindrical shape. So I'll start with the cylinder, create polygon primitives, cylinder. I'm going to make the subdivision cap to be 0. I'll keep 20 as subdivision axis because we want it to be nice smooth cylinder. I'll reduce the radius to be 0.2 or 1. 0.2 will do. And I'm going to reduce this height to be 1. So let's keep it somewhere in there. Okay. Now we want to create the rest of the part here. So I can actually extrude from this existing shape. So I'll click on that, extrude, pull it down so we get some definition there. I'm going to add some divisions here. I'll go ahead and select, shift right click and choose insert edge loop tool. I'm going to add a couple of edges, one here and one here. Now I can tweak this further by selecting the center faces and scaling it out. I think that's too much. I can just push it like so. Keep it like that. Now there's no condition that you have to do the same thing the same way that I'm doing. We can do the same job in many different ways in Maya. So if you don't like my method, you can also try other methods. So instead of using an edge loop, you can simply create the same thing with extrude itself. So there's no condition that you have to follow the same method that I'm using. You can try your own different methods. So I'll go ahead and just pull this up. And this is the area that I'm going to create the 5 legs. So I'll keep it like that. Now I'm going to make the legs. So I'll go ahead and start with the cube again. So create, polygon primitives, cube. We'll make the cube to be smaller. Think something like that. We can make it a bit more tall, a bit more thinner. Okay, and I'm going to look at my side view, pull it up. You can start it from somewhere here. Press 4. Okay, so I'm going to start with this face. I'll do an extrude. So extrude, pull it out. Now we have to decide the length, how long we want it to be. So I'll choose it somewhere here. I'll make it a bit smaller. I can rotate it like so. Keep it there. And I want to make one more extrude. Rotate it further like so. Great. I'll make one more extrude, pull it down. Okay, looks nice, but I think I have to pull it up a bit. So not only this one, I have to also pull this one. So I'll select all these vertices, pull this whole thing up. Great. Now I have to create a couple of wheels. Go to create, polygon primitives, and choose cylinder. I'll rotate it 90 degrees. I can actually scale it manually instead of trying to give a value here. I don't want this cap division. No need for any height division also. Let's scale it small. Let's try which size fits here. Should not be too small also. I think at least this much of size should be there. So according to that, I have to pull this up. There you go. I'll have to pull these vertices also up. Great. So now finally I can simply just select these guys and do some tweaks here. Select this face, extrude inside, extrude a little bit, pull this out, extrude, pull this down, extrude, great. Extrude once again, so that makes it look like a wheel. I'll press 3 to smooth out to see how that looks. And you can see that the other side I have not done anything, so let's just simply add a couple of extrudes. Let's pull this close like that, maybe take it out. Press 3, yes. Now I'll make a duplicate to the other side. Pull this to the left side. I'll change the pivot point to the center, press insert key, press I can either enable the grid snap here. I can also press the shortcut key X, press insert once again. I'll make a duplicate to the other side, go to edit, duplicate. Now I can either choose duplicate and then give -1 here for my scale value. I can also go to edit, duplicate special options, and here I can give -1 for y-axis and hit duplicate special. That will also get us the same result. So depending on which one you like, you can choose the different methods. So I'll go ahead and press 3. I'll go ahead and press 3 here also. Okay, so those are the wheels. Now if you want, you can create a small object that's coming from there. I can simply extrude this, something like that, and extrude down to connect those wheels. Great. Now if I smooth this out, let me see how that looks. It's nice. If I want to add more divisions here, I can add, because it's actually blending out. So I'll go ahead and choose insert edge loop tool, add one here. Okay. Let me see how that looks when I smooth it. Yes. Great. So now I can select all these 3 objects and create a group so that I can make duplicates to them to make 4 other legs. I'll go ahead and select this entire leg piece. I'll press Ctrl G to make it as a group. I can name this as leg. Okay, so now I'll have to make a duplicate. I can actually go to edit, duplicate special, options, go to edit and choose reset. So we want 4 copies and I want them to be in equal distance from each other. So for rotation Y, I will give a value of 72. So I'll give 72 there, hit apply and see how that comes out. Yes, that's perfect. Once we've completed it, we can select all these objects together and make them a group, Control G, and this group will give a name, rolling chair, and we will put this in a layer, name it as rolling chair, hit save. I should not give space there, rolling chair, and hit save. Now I gave rolling chair as the group name, so here it's saying that we cannot give the same name here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give underscore here so that it's a different name. Great. Now that we have created the chair and the table, let's make some duplicate of the chair to put it around the table. Before we start, let's take a look at our outliner. Window, outliner. Outliner is the place where we can see all our objects in the scene, and it is important to organize the outliner in order for a better and comfortable working. So if I take a look here, this is my table. So I'm going to give a name to that table. I'll name it round table. I don't think it'll accept this name, so I will give underscore here. Great. Now these are some unwanted transforms that we have, and these are some groups that we created which was not used later. Now let's talk about these unwanted transforms. These two unwanted transforms are created when we combined these two objects. This is a cube and this is a cylinder. We combined them to make one object. These transforms are created because, as you know, when Maya is creating the cylinder, it will give a transform to that. When it creates the cube, it gives a transform to that. And when we combine them, it actually creates a new transform for the combined object. So what will happen is this old two transforms are still connected to the same object, but they are being kicked out of this object. So you can see that we have this newly created object in here, which is polygon cylinder 3, but we have these unwanted transforms here. When I select this transform, it shows this object in pink color. That means these transforms are still connected to that object. To remove them or to disconnect them, we can delete the history of this object. So I'll select this object, go to Edit, Delete by Type, History. You can see that those two transforms are on. And these groups are not connected to anything, so I can just select that and delete. Now you can see that our scene is very much organized. Great. So let's go ahead and push this rolling chair to make the duplicate. I'll select this rolling chair, pull it out. Great. I want to make it a bit bigger because I think it's too small. While making it bigger, you have to make sure that you're selecting the group. If you select the individual objects, they will go crazy. So I'll select the scale tool, make it big. So I think that's good enough. I'll pull it more closer. Keep it there. Great. Now I want to push this pivot point to the center. I'll go ahead and do that by pressing the insert key, and I can turn on my grid snap, move. Let's make sure that it's in center. Yes. Press insert once again to come out of the pivot point mode. Great. Now let's go to Edit, Duplicate Special, Options. Let's reset the tool. I want to make some 8 copies. I want to have a total of 8 chairs, so I want 7 copies. Now we have to calculate what should be the angle that we want to give here for rotate Y in order to get this 7 extra copies. It's a simple calculation. Let's give 360 divided by 8. So that's 45. That's great. So let's give 45 degrees here and hit duplicate special. So we get 7 new copies. So a total of 8 chairs we have. In this video, we will create the floor, the walls. We'll create a curtain in one side. We will create whiteboard in the other side. So let's start with the cube. Go to Create, Polygon Primitives, and Cube. We'll make it bigger. We'll give 10 for height. We'll give 30 for width and maybe 25 as depth. Let's pull it up. We can actually look at it from the side view so that we know exactly what's happening. Great. I can press 4. That looks nice. I think I can make the wall a bit more taller. I'll just increase 1 feet, so I'll make it 11 units. And now I can bring it up here. I'm going to pick these vertices, pull them down, pick these vertices, keep them there. Great. Fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete one of these faces so that we can actually see the inside area. And if you look, you will see that this inside area looks a bit dark. This is due to a feature called backface culling. Sometimes it will be disturbing for our eyes. So what we can do is we can go to shading and choose backface culling on. So now we will not find that problem. Fine. So I'm going to use one side. Let's say I'm going to use this side to have the curtain and this side to have the board. So to create the curtain, I'm going to start with a plane. So I'll go to Create, Polygon Primitives, Plane. I'm going to pull the plane out, rotate it 90 degrees. Let's make it big. Pull it up. We actually need to make it fit to that space, so I'll actually go here to my front view. I'm going to pull it up like so. Make it bigger. The more division we have, the better it is, so I'll just add more divisions width-wise, not height-wise. Okay, because we'll use these divisions to make some nice wrinkles and stuff. So I'll pull this actually to the entire length of the wall. Okay, great. So we can leave a small gap in both the sides. That's not a problem. And let me check the height also. I can turn off the grid snap so that we can manually place it. Okay, I'm going to start it from the top itself. Great. So maybe if I want, I can also just select these bottom ones, lift them up slightly. Great. So now what I want to do is I want to go to edges, select the alternative edges, select the first one, leave one edge loop and then take the other, leave one edge loop, take the other, leave one edge loop and take the other, and so on and so forth. I'm going to press, I'm going to pull this down and maybe I'll push it slightly outside. Yes. Okay, so now if I smooth it out, press 3, it would look like a nice curtain. Great. Now when we texture it, it would look much nicer than this. You can see that the top area is not looking really nice. It's actually showing off that our curtain is not fixed to any rod or something. So what we can do is we can just hide that, fake that by creating a simple cube. So I'll go ahead and choose Create Polygon Cube. I'm going to pull this cube out, pull it up. There you go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side view. There you go. So I'll keep it somewhere there. Now I can scale it to the total length. Great. Now just one small final touch. I can simply extrude that a little bit, something like that. And I want to take a look at this from the top view to make it something like that. And I'll do one more extrude. This time I can push it inside. Great. So that looks like our curtain is coming from somewhere. Great. Now here we will add a whiteboard. So again, we'll start with the cube. Choose the cube, pull it up, take it back. Let's go ahead and check here. Okay, we'll start from the center itself, and we want to make it stay close. We actually want to see it from the side view. This is the side view. Okay, so that's the edge. So I'll keep it there. We don't want it to look like a perfect square, but if we make it rectangular, it'll be difficult for us to do the extrude. So it's better that we keep it as a perfect square first, do the extrudes, and then after the extrudes are done, then we can simply stretch it. Okay, so I'm going to keep it as it is, make it thinner. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and choose the face, center face, extrude it, make it smaller, just that much. Do one more extrude, make it even smaller, and this one we will push it inside just to create that thickness of the frame. Okay, I'll give one more small border, something like that. Yes, great. Now that we've got the extrudes done, now we can stretch it. I can just select these vertices, pull it up, and I can select these vertices, pull them to the left side, these vertices, pull them to the other side. Okay, that looks great. I'll also make a duplicate of this to put it this side as a photo frame. Duplicate it, take it out, rotate it 90 degrees. Pull it to the wall. And scale it from all directions. Great. So that makes it small. I'll try to put it in the center. There you go. Press X. That will snap it to the center. So that's just a simple photo frame that I want to keep. So I'll put it exactly on the wall. If you want, you can also make a duplicate of this. Control D to keep 3 photo frames. Okay, so while doing the texturing part, we have to figure out what kind of pictures we can put in there. In this video, we'll create a small chair and duplicate it in this area to fill up the space. Now I have added some extra display layers to hide these walls, curtain, and the whiteboards and stuff, so that we can have a clean scene where we can easily select objects, easily make them visible or invisible. So let's go ahead and start with this small chair. For creating this, I'm going to my side view. So this is the area that we wanted to create the chair. I'll go ahead and shift right click without selecting any object so that you will get this create polygon tool. So click on that. I'm going to turn on my grid snap and I will create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, press enter. So this has actually created us a polygon. Now what I have to do is I have to add some divisions here and extrude. So to add more edges here, we can shift right click and choose multi-cut tool. Now in order not to get any distraction from the background object, I'm going to hide these walls. I can click here and press here. So that will create one edge. Press enter to finalize that edge. I'll continue doing that here. Press enter. Continue doing that here. Press enter. Great. So now let me go back to my move tool. I can select all these faces, shift right click, choose extrude face. I can pull it out. Great. Let me turn off my grid snap here. Now I have to make it smaller because it's too big for a chair. So let me go to my side view, make it select the entire object. You can see that the pivot point is gone here, so we can bring the pivot point to the center by choosing modify, center pivot. So now we got the pivot point in the center. We can scale it down. So I think that thickness is fine. Now we can just tweak it, pull it to this end, and push this down. Okay, so I think something like 1.5 will do. Great, I'll pull this down to make it touch the ground. 2 feet from ground for the seat area, and then we'll pull this up a little bit more, and I can actually make it a bit slanting. Nice. And this area is actually too much. We don't want so much. The sitting area can be just 2 feet. So let me check. Yeah, I think that looks good. Fine, so this is just one side. I'll have to make a duplicate for the other side and create some seat in the middle. Let's go ahead and smooth this and see how that looks. Press 3, boom. Not really good. So we have to add some more divisions to define this shape. So I'll go ahead and choose Insert Edge Loop tool. I'll add one up here. Select the object. Okay, one here. I want to add 2 shapes here, 2 edge loops here, one here and one here. Okay, one here, one here, one here, and one here. I want to add one more at this end also. So let's go ahead and smooth it out and see how that looks. Yeah, that's nice. It looks nice, but it looks more cylindrical. I want it to be more rounded square, so I can add more divisions vertically this way. So I'll choose my Insert Edge Loop tool. So I'll add one here and add one here. So let's see how that looks. Press 3. Now it's much nicer. Great. Okay, fine. So now what I have to do is I have to make a duplicate of this. So Control D, so that gets a duplicate, push it here. Now I'll create a seat in between these. For that I can again take another cube, plane, create, polygon primitives, cube. Bring the cube here. I can actually hide these other objects. Fine, select it, pull it up, make it thinner. Push it close. Great. You can give a little bit of height, a little bit more height, because when we smooth it anyway, it's going to be smooth. I want to add more divisions. I can do that right away. So I'll choose width. So we'll give something like 6, and depth also will give 6. Now let me press 3. So that's how it's going to look. So we can make some small tweaks here just to make it more interesting. I can just select this guy 1, 2, 3, and then I'm actually going to select these vertices. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can actually experiment with this. You can try to select different vertices and try to push them and pull them to find out what kind of result you get. So I'm just trying to create some uneven surface so that it looks more like a nice cushioned seat. Okay, I can pull this up a bit. I can also select these edges and pull them down, or I can add more division here to make them smaller. I'll add a couple of divisions here, so one here and one here. So I can actually select all these edges and scale them small. So I'll select these and choose the scale tool, make it smaller. Press 3. Great. So let's push it up a little bit. Nice. Now I can simply make a duplicate of this, Control D, and I can keep it up here. I'll actually look at the side view, which is easier to work with. Rotate it. Select that, press 3. Okay, so that's our chair. Now I'll select all these 4 objects, make sure that you're in object mode, select all these 4 objects. I can create a group, Control G. Now let's check our outliner. There you go. So I've created a group. So I'll call this as small chair. We have a lot of these individual objects. We can actually check them. We can give names to them also. I'll turn all these objects on. Okay, so this is going to be our wall. So I'll write it wall. And this is going to be the curtain. This is going to be curtain holder. This is going to be the whiteboard. And this is going to be photo frame, so it's like photo frame P frame 01, and I'll call this P frame 02. You can actually copy this, paste it here, make it 2, paste it here, make it 3. Okay, press insert key and pull it to where we want. Okay, keep it there. Okay, so I want to make some more copies of this. Move this here. Okay, I want to make some copies of this chair. Now, for making multiple copies, we can either use duplicate special, and this time I'm going to use a different tool. I'm going to use a tool called duplicate with transform, that is Shift D. So what it will do is, first I have to press Control D to make a duplicate, move the object to a certain distance. Now if I press Shift D, it will make a duplicate and it will make the same transform that I did. That's great. So all I have to do is press Shift D, Shift D, Shift D. I will get all these different copies. Now I can select all these groups and I can make sure that I bring it inside. Now before starting with texturing, it is important to make sure that we have our project set. We can go to File, choose Set Project, and I'm going to pick up my Maya project. And inside that I have my scenes and source images. I'll hit set. If this is the first time you're setting a project, it will ask you to create a workspace file. You can choose create default workspace. The next time you do this, it will not ask you for the workspace file to be created. I'll hit open. It takes me to my Maya project. So it immediately takes me to my Maya project and shows me my scenes. I'm going to pick up the last file that says texturing Maya. I'll hit don't save. Okay, now the scene looks empty because I've got all my layers visibility turned off. I'm going to turn on my round table. There it is. Great. We're going to apply some file textures on this, and all my textures are available in my source images folder. To start with texturing, I want to change my viewport layout to see both my perspective view and the hypershade. So I'll click on this. So that gives me both my hypershade and my perspective view. That's great. So let's go ahead and create a material here. I'll choose Maya so that I can see my Maya materials. I want to have the table to be non-reflective, so I can choose Lambert. I'll immediately give a name to this. I can double click here and call this table top. Now we'll select this material and press Ctrl A. So here for color attribute, we will apply a texture. So I'll go inside and choose file, and I will browse. It automatically takes me to my source images folder. I can select these materials to find, I can select these files to find out the one that I want. I think this one. I've got other wooden textures also. So this is the one that I want to put it on top of the table. Now I want to apply this texture only to few faces, not to all the faces. So what I'll do is I'll select face, select the top one, shift double click to select all these, and I also want to select the ones that are facing up. So I'll select this one, shift select this one, select this one also, and I will select these horizontal ones. So shift select first one, double click on this second one with shift key. Let me select all these ones also. Okay, and this last one. Great. And the bottom one, it's not going to be visible, but still, if you want, we can simply apply that. Okay, so now with all these objects selected, I can simply right click and choose assign material to selection. Nice. Now the texture is being applied, but it doesn't look like it's being applied properly. So we have to do some little mapping now. So I have to tell Maya how to use this texture on top of this faces. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and choose UV and apply a planar mapping. So what this will do is it'll create a plane and it'll try to put that picture on top of this object using this plane. So I'll go ahead and go to options. We have to decide which axis we want to project. We want to project from top, so that is y-axis, and I'll hit project. Yes, there you go. So that's what we wanted. If you want to make it smaller, you will get multiple tiles. Of course, it doesn't look nice, so we'll keep it big itself. And you will notice that there's really nice, good detail that shows the texture. And it's being applied to all these other faces. That's great. Nice. Now we'll select the side ones. So that is this one. Double click to select this entire thing. Select this one. Double click to select those. Double click. Select first one. Press shift and select. Make sure that you keep holding shift key while doing this, otherwise it will lose the older selections. Now for this, we'll actually create a second texture because I'm going to use a different kind of wooden texture for this. I'll create a new material here. Go back here to Maya, Lambert. Let's call this table side. Go to File, choose Browse, pick this last one, hit OK. I lost my selection, no problem. I'll make the selection once again. Select first one, double click with Shift key. Select first one, double click with Shift key. Okay, so now let's right click on this table side, choose Assign Material to Selection, and that should do it. Now again, this one also may not look that perfect, so what we can do is we can do another projection here. Let me check if the material has the right texture. Yes. Okay, so what we can do here is, because of the shape, we can apply a cylindrical mapping instead of the planar mapping. So let's go ahead and choose UV and choose a cylindrical mapping. Go to Options. Actually, nothing to change here. Hit Project. Now this will actually give us a placement holder like that. With the help of this, we can decide how this texture is going to be placed on this object. We can also stretch it up and down. I think it looks nice. Kind of like a double tone. Let's go ahead and select it. We have this nice wooden texture applied to this. Now if you want maybe to apply a different color or something like that, you can just simply select the area that you want to apply a different color, choose that, apply material, give a name to that, and just simply assign it. Now make sure that you always use your Maya project, because these texture files are connected to this file from the source images folder. So if the source images folders are not there, or if you have changed your Maya project to some other location, then these textures will not show up the next time you open. So be careful.